Wood End Plains. 18 hours. We're going to need some loot to afford their salaries again. I think it was a mistake to hire 8 guys. I'm sure the game is going to give you time to prepare before anything bad can even happen. $1,800. I'm not sure if I want to start a new upgrade. It would have to be a cheap one. There are no cheap ones. No, 600. That's reasonable. Pride Hollow Hearth Lab or Courtyard Pool. Restoring your hearth may return a semblance of order to the keep. So some prestige. I have no idea what that means. Purchasing the lab will restore the lab inside Perth Hollow. No idea what that means. Purchasing this upgrade, the Courtyard Pool, will repair the Courtyard Pool inside Bright Hollow. I think I'm somewhat interested in the lab. I have no idea what that is. Maybe there's a shopkeeper. Let's start with the hearth. 600 one day.
I shall be discreet.
Be discreet all you want. It's not that big of an area. Stormwall Gorge. Well, we probably still want to go to Defiance Bay even if we have options to go elsewhere. I'm guessing we have reasons to go here sooner or later anyway. What the fuck is that? Forest lurker. Some kind of a pervert. Primordial, so tree creature maybe? Right. Primordials are usually fairly easy to hit. Trying to do some kind of... Ooh, he's trying to do knockdown.
And what does the flame reveal?
Awakened wood.
All right, then.
I need monies. Very low resistance against fire, very high resistance against piercing. You have a piercing weapon, don't you? Right.
Following your lead. Right away.
Hey. Go. Of course. Hey.
Yes? Your
So I switched to piercing weapons in that. Whatever. There would be the 200 sword that does 3 damage types. Maybe I should do switch to that.
Yes?
Ass kickery. Right, it's primordial. Yeah, these are very easy to hit, very high endurance.
Roak 10!
Blanket. Ho ho ho, you're almost dead. Yeah, I don't think you're frontline material really. Maybe you should stick with the rifle. Alternatively, have some kind of casting implement. I'm also going to try a trap against the next opponent. Maybe a couple of them. We're
Hey.
getting new ones at a steady pace, so
Hello?
it doesn't matter if we waste a few.
Hello?
I can always save and load too. But I want to understand how they work. Do they need to walk on top of them? Are they something that react to enemies coming nearby? How many can I stack them on top of each other? That sort of information. Are they basically, well, what type of game traps are they? Worthless or extremely powerful? What is that? Spirit Shield. Damage reduction, concentration. Weapon switch. Piercing weapon you use is just fine, but for the love of God, use something that does more than 1 damage type. One that does 3 damage types. That patroller is a sufficient test for us.
What?
Say what? These need to be in quick slots. Dart traps use deflection, they should hit. Get more information. Effective in a 1 meter radius. So that's the triggering radius. I don't think it matters
Fine.
too much where I put these. I can just lure him. Lure him to us. So this is a Neverwinter Nights trap. Okay. We stack these. Trap disarm. For the love of God. We can't stack them on top of each other apparently. 1 trap. This is like 11 to 15 points of damage. What the fuck is that useful for? It wouldn't kill anyone even at the start of the game. It doesn't give me any kind of a notice either. There has to be something else involved here, because a single trap is gonna be absolutely worthless. Uh, we can't use them here. Okay. What if you do it? Can you stack them?
Following your lead.
Trap disarm. Right. Right. This is... No matter where I put these traps, it's just... Same trap, no. Now I have 2 traps. I don't... why doesn't anyone explain traps? We can't put them on top of each other, that's for certain.
Aye? All right then. All done.
So...
That's settled.
Is it 1 per person then? I don't... That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, the implementation doesn't make sense. Let's say, fine. For every person in your party, you can lay down a trap. Why can't a single guy lay down the traps? Why the fuck do I need to have a different guy do the job? Also seems to, for some reason, just... You have to have a larger party, otherwise traps will not really aid you. While it would seem more reasonable, at least to me, that you have an X amount of traps that you can use, regardless of how many party members you have. I mean, you're just skimping lesser, well, smaller sized groups for no particular reason. Or is the game automatically increasing the number of hostiles if you have more guys on your team? That seems like a shitty scaling solution too. I don't know. I, I think this is one of those times where I'll just go to the internet and look how the fuck this is supposed to work, because I don't recall anything about traps. There's no search function, but camping supplies, spell holding, spell striking, spell bind, spell chance, spell stamina, stash, stronghold, tools. There's just nothing there. Alright. It's not like I was looking
Of course.
forward to using little traps all the time. More or less just yeah, why the fuck can't I move this? I would just like to understand what's the logic behind it.
Leave it to me.
Kill it. Knock it down.
Hey. Spot on.
What are you doing? Reload time on this is ridiculous. Ah, don't particularly care.
That's it.
You can get him a new weapon later on.
I shall be quiet as a calm sea, which is not very quiet.
I'm sort of confused about the traps because so far mechanics have made a lot of sense. I've easily seen why they're there, and to me that seems more or less balanced, except maybe the armor. It's not really armor class, is it though? The deflection. That I'm not sure if that makes sense. A problem being that it affects both hitting and damage. So extremely high values on those are basically borderline broken. It depends how easy that value is to reach. I don't know. However, the potential is there. But with the traps, I just don't see why there are limitation. Is it 6? Or well, if it's 1 per character, it ought to be 6. But it would seem like using traps might be a very interesting way to balance things, or at least work things through if you work with a smaller party or try to solo this game. But if you're limited to a single trap, then what the fuck, game?
Hey.
You need to
Following
blank
your
that shit. Have you tried attacking the enemy? 26 points. You try to kill it.
blast!
That's it. Laying low.
Looks like just a forestry area, so probably nothing all that interesting. Still, the ingredients might end up being useful. The experience is always welcome. We're not getting a huge amount of experience, but still, every little bit counts. And you never know, might end up finding something interesting. I would imagine the game has quite a few more than 6 guys that can join your party. And why even have the party selection otherwise? You can have your hirelings naturally, but if you have a 6-man party, the game will probably have around twice that in NPCs you can find. Anyway, clearly more than the maximum you can take with forest troll. Pavgra. What the fuck is a Pavgra? So looks like I don't know, a witch, something like that. Has skulls on her hips or its hips. So weak mental, weak. Well, they're very tough on physique, but that's all they have.
Aye?
Get into fireball range.
Yes?
Get all 3.
Oh?
What did we do? I can't see. Grace, hit, critical. Grace, hit. There's 4 guys, so 3 trolls and Pabra, primordial or something. Weak against fire, apparently. For shame.
Spot on!
Ooh, there's more of them. This could be a problem.
Oh?
Right. They seem to be regenerating quickly. I'd like to get rid of the Hogra, please. What can you do? Could be a serious fight, so... Near death, injured, badly injured, probably uninjured. You too. Interrupted the forest troll. Whoopidoo. And the Polgra is dead. Right. Why did you go into hugging distance again? Well, whatever. Ooh, good. No. Try to actually just kill something.
That's it!
Just take it down. Weak against mental abilities.
Stand still!
Sharp eyes and keen ears. All right then.
These guys just aren't exactly on the same level with the ogres. What exactly do they? Uh, what was the other creature? They were trolls, but then they were Hogra something. Yeah, forest trolls are level 3. Not particularly great. They're okay. Slashing damage. Great constitution, great fortitude. That's pretty much all they have. Weak against burn and corrode. Was the weird creature supposed to be a named one? So it's not a creature type, but her name. Some kind of crazy lady with her trolls. At least we're getting some ingredients out of this. Well, I wish I would find at least some loot. I got bills to pay at this point. What is that? A lion? Well, well, well. Well. It would be great if you just stop there and think about what you're doing.
Yes?
Shotgun blind. Miss.
Laying low.
Lion was surprisingly good experience point-wise. I suppose he's a stronger attacker. Trolls are tough, but they're not really a danger. Lions.
Yes?
So try spellcasting. But oil selection?
Arthur. Word then.
Lioness. A weak damage reduction, that's what they have. Okay, that doesn't look good. Much better defenses.
Aye. Rest up, big.
Ooh, and he was cut down. So these are much better attackers, also he got flanked badly. Not terribly dangerous, this was more of a management fuck up on my part.
Hey.
Yes?
It's fundamentally because we
Hey.
have only one guy who's supposed to tank, but
Nice and
we
quiet.
don't really tank with him. We sort of do some kind of a clusterfuck too often. Hearth Harvest. Unique hatchet. Fast. Slashing damage. Plus 5 deflection, plus 25% burn damage. Damage resistance bypass. So, sort of like a stiletto type weapon. Except slashing. Waves are roughly chiseled in the stone. They grasp at Ondra's beloved moon like curling fingers. I think I came from the north. One Bridge. There's still something south of us too. What's our swollen eye? -4 perception. And I'm not sure if you
Yes?
should be using the sword. It would be better if it was something that has more reach, so like a pole arm or a quarterstaff. Maybe I should use the priest weapon. It's a solid weapon. Has extra reach, does crushing and burn damage. But I don't think he would take it well if we switched around too much. Um, we do have fine poleaxe, slow, slashing and crushing. Speed is irrelevant. Accuracy and extra damage. It's not totally irrelevant, but we're looking at a fairly slow weapon if we want to have the extra reach anyway. I'll give it a try.
Alright then.
This does have good damage, so
Let's see what lies this way.
loots! Proper loots. Ooh. Jalen Demathe. Hard to pronounce name, so maybe companion potential? No. Vibrant history. Fuck it. You see a group of robed figures sitting next to a fire. This woman, much younger and smaller, sits with them. They are discussing travel and making plans, deciding which road will get them to their destination fastest. A rustling noise catches the attention of several members of the group and they stand, watching over the fire, straining against the darkness to see. An enormous shadowy figure makes its way into camp, and the darkness slowly parts against the firelight to reveal who it is. Many members of the group stand, readying weapons. Others quietly invoke their god, preparing spells for battle. The girl looks around confused, when the man sitting next to her stands, holding out his arms. He chastises the others in the group for not showing the proper hospitality to a stranger. The man walks toward the ogre, hands extended, speaking words of welcome in his own tongue. The ogre stares at the man for a brief moment. Then, with a swiftness seemingly unnatural for a being of its size, it swings the club it had been dragging behind itself. It connects with the man's head, causing a wet, crushing sound. The woman to the girl's right screams and rushes to the man's side, covering half the distance before the man has even fallen to the ground. From the darkness all around the group, terrifying and blood-curdling shouts answer the screams of those in the camp as more figures approach through the darkness. Right. What bothers me more is that I, it's just a person there, on her own in the wilderness, and I can't fucking talk to her. They don't exist as people of the game. They're just some kind of a. This should not have been even a person. That would have been better. it isn't a person. It isn't a character of this world. He's there probably because of some kind of a shitty crowdfunding system. I can't imagine you adding a NPC to the game that is totally uninteractable, but somehow you see visions of them. And it's not like these are rare. You can find loads of them in the one city I've seen so far.
Keeping an eye out.
It's just I don't mind crowdfunding. I mean, it's the reason these games exist. But Jesus fucking Christ, could you at least put some effort into giving out rewards that aren't this sort of immersion breaking? I suppose I don't want to skip them either because I don't know. They seem to have sort of connection to my ability to see or interact with people so. At the same time, they don't seem to have any relevance to anything. They're not really people. So I sort of don't know, should I ignore them like I ignore the tombstones, or should I go through with them all and see in the faint hope that one of them might be even remotely relevant. I don't like the what the fuck they're doing in this game. I don't know. I think it would have been better to just add those glimpses to existing NPCs, integrate them into the either dialogue or just have you be able to see a glimpse of an existing NPC that you can interact with. Not add extra people that basically sort of serve no purpose.
Hush, Itumak. We'll just wait a little longer.
Hello, NPC that can join our group. He's too interesting to be a normal random NPC. Yeah. A dwarven woman, dressed in skins and hides, leans against a road marker. Her face is turned down, her eyes darkened by a thick stripe of face paint. She's sharpening a bone arrowhead with a scrimshaw-handled knife. Her attention, however, is focused on a bear figurine between her feet. A large white-furred fox standing at her heels looks up at your approach.
Easy, Itumak. It's not him.
Who are you waiting for?
Short version? I'm looking for a very, very old friend. I'm not sure what skin he's wearing now, but I'll know him when I see him.
Your friend is supposed to meet you here.
That's what I heard. Of course, the man who told me so was carrying a staff he claimed was made from dragon bone, but I know whitewood when I see it. That should have been my first clue, but I had to try something.
What does this stranger have to do with your friend?
The long version. Here we go. I'm from an island to the far south called Nasitak. I came here looking for a village elder, a man we knew as Persok. I'm a hunter back home, so tracking someone wouldn't normally be a problem. But Persok's trail is cold, to say the least.
Why can't you find him? There can't be that many of your people in the Durwood. He died when I was still a young girl. Forgot to mention that part, did I? I'm looking for his latest reincarnation, which could be anyone. So how long have you been looking for Persad? Her painted brows lower and her compact muscular frame sags for just an instant. 5 years. So you've been searching 5 years for a stranger you barely remember, who could be anyone now.
That about sums it up.
But why? What do you have to find Persad? She smiles wryly. That's more of a campfire tale. Not quite ready to get into that. Must be an important duty.
So I keep reminding myself. Still, it would be nice if important duties came with clearer instructions.
She looks at the Adra figurine in the dirt. How does that statuette figure into it? She dusts the figurine on her trousers and raises it in her small flat palm. It's carved in the shape of a bear, smooth and round. The polished Adra is worn to a dull mat along its arched back and ovoid haunches. A soft glow emanates from within.
Cute, isn't it? It belonged to Persock. Before he returned to the wheel, he left a splinter of his soul in it. Something to help us find him later.
As she holds it out to you, you feel wisps of sensation. Not quite memories, but traces of someone.
When I left Nasitak, it was completely dark inside. But as I've gotten closer to Persock, it's glowed steadily brighter. Since I've reached the Deerwood, however, it's gotten hard to read. Some days it flickers and goes dark. Others it shines nice and bright, for a few hours. But most of the time it looks just like this.
I could take a look at it.
I've heard that one before. Whole reason I'm standing here is because some so-called watcher from Forkvale told me he could take a look. For a few golden dukes, of course. I was on my way out of the Balmarsh when I heard talk of a traveling mystic who could supposedly see souls. I knew it was a long shot, but what did I have to lose? I went to see this fellow and gave him the Audra figurine. He made a big show of moaning and rolling his eyes, and after I'd given him 5 golden dukes to lift the shroud, he told me to seek the crossroads in the field between the wolf's lair and the twining trees.
Go on.
He thought he was being vague, but I know the area well enough to recognize that he meant this place, right between Defiance Bay and Twin Elms. I had a bad taste in my mouth, but my coin was spent and I'd already left an arrow in his knapsack as a friendly warning. Told him I'd come back and leave him with another if it turned out he was giving me the runaround. I've been here a week now. Guess he had the last laugh after all.
May I see the figurine?
Why?
I am a real watcher.
You expect me to believe that? After the story I just told you?
Hmm. You got nothing to lose by letting me try.
Fine. But if you try to run, just remember that my arrows are faster.
She hands you the figurine, her chapped knuckles grazing your hand. She watches you examine it, wary but curious. You raise the other bear, turning it in the light. As your eyes catch a tiny glinting scratch, the scenery around you melts away. You're standing on a cliff overlooking the water, seeing through eyes that aren't your own. You catch the musk of bees amid the fresh scent of vegetation. Your heart beats a little faster. You'll have to watch your step up here. You'll look down just long enough to see a sharp pale cliffs drop into the water hundreds of feet below you. Perception. Okay, I see a vision of cliffs high over the water. Does that sound familiar? Your question is greeted with shrugs and silence. I've got it. He's standing on a cliff. My perception sucks.
What are you talking about? What just happened?
I told you I'm a watcher. She blinks at you a few times, calculating. I know it sounds strange, but it is the truth.
You realize I've got no coin to give you, even if I did believe you.
Come with me. I've got other business in the area and we can look for Persock on the way.
And if this is your idea of a joke, you may be stuck with me for a while. Lead the way.
What are you? A boreal dwarf? Nasitak, the hunter. Okay. 5th level ranger, really. Hunter is the background. It's another uh, Chanter type character as far as attributes is concerned. More health, but endurance is exactly the same. It's not a frontline fighter. I'm either ditching the Chanter or the Hunter at some point. What do you do? Out of perception. Good interrupts, good accuracy. Some stealth, some survival. Faithful Companion plus 30 defense against dominated, charmed, confused attacks. Minus 5 sec dominated, charmed, confused duration. Fine Hide Armor plus 2 damage reduction. 15 accuracy against Wilder, 15 accuracy against Primordials. Hunter's Instinct. Hunter's Instinct, Mark Prey, Second Wind, Stalker's Link, Arctic Fox Companion, Wounding Shot. If successful, hobble for about 12 seconds. User, primary attack, Pierce, Crush, accuracy versus deflection. Okay, primary attack. No, full attack. Many abilities will state that they use either a full or primary attack. When such abilities are used, the character applies the effect through an attack with either all currently equipped weapons, full attack, or with their primary equipped weapon, primary attack. So it only works through our primary weapon. Right. Probably some kind of bow. Masuk hunting bow. Piercing and crushing. Accurate 2, plus 8 accuracy. So good chances of interrupting. Fast attack speed. Damage sort of sucks, but it is what it is. Secondary, fine dagger and a fine hatchet. And light armor. So yeah, you want some armor, but at the same time, this is not a frontline fighter, so probably don't want too much negatives on the recovery speed. We have excess scrap to give her. Might have something. Right, I'm just not storing them in my inventory. Better weapons, certainly. But it's not her primary way of attacking. Fine hunting bow versus... What is this? It's a hunting bow, two-handed. You have weapon specialities. Weapon focused peasant. Hatchet, spear, quarterstaff, hunting bow, unarmed. It has to be a hunting bow. Her hunting bow is probably better. Might have a better armor though. Well, it's a light armor, fine hide armor. What is that? Recovery speed minus 25%. I'll keep it. Disengagement robe. Or reflex bonus and healing bonus. Do you have jewelry? It's clothing. Right. We'll see how this works. Ooh, why her pet is an actual thing here. Itumak, endurance. Is that a good thing? What do you know? Can I see her stats? Currently no. Speed average. Effect summon Itumak. Right. So I have no idea what it does. Apparently I don't need to know.
Alright then.
North to Caed Nua, west to Defiance Bay. We do need to find the southern road to...
Margaren's fire casts light in dark places.
Our first proper sneaksman though. I don't like her. Nothing particularly wrong about her, it's not the character we're looking for. Not another support character. We're up to our ears in support characters. It's better than nothing, I suppose. Another leech on the experience point, so it gets divided into another part. Ah, Havgra.
Gotta try something.
To have great defenses. Why do you have to go into hugging distance? You have a long range weapon.
Hey,
I now see something about the Pagra. Apparently no. What the fuck is it? Dilem gun. Okay, Dilem gun. Forest spirits. Level 6 primordial. Weak against burn and freezing. Strong damage resistance otherwise.
of course.
I shall be quiet as a calm sea, which is not very quiet.
Searing Falls, Stormwall Gorge, Del 1 Bridge. Definitely going to the city first. So they're probably going to repair this bridge anyway at some point. Not that it matters. Wine Drek swirls around the bottom of the clay jar. No one's here. Scroll of prayer against infirmity. Well, at least we got our salary money for the next cycle, so no complaints.
Laying low.
It seems like rangers have some kind of pet system. So maybe if your own character would have been a ranger, you could take advantage of the pets you find along the railway. So don't understand what it is, because just looking at the character, there's no way to get information about the pet. So I'm not sure what the hell am I supposed to do with it? Is it good in anything? Is it like uh, a summoned creature, or is it like familiar? Summoned creature would be something that you can throw away and then summon the next day. Familiar is something that there's a negative if you lose it. You get some kind of a debuff. I think in certain games you get a permanent constitution loss. So I'd definitely like to know more. I doubt the game has permanent losses. Modern games don't have it, and I didn't like it in the earlier computer games either. It might be somewhat more fitting in actual pen and paper roleplay setting, but it translates badly to a video game. It just means that no one's going to fucking use it, because the downside is way too large for something that almost any attack can wipe it out if you're unlucky, and then you have a permanent negative on your hit points forever. It's just not worth it. A sparrow's nest is tucked between two angled slats. Oh, that's important information. Is that it? So basically an entire level just to have this one guy here. 4 hours. Animal companions do not have powerful attacks, but they can be effective at pinning an enemy down. Right. Okay, at least it seems like the info screens are somewhat related to what I'm doing. Or maybe I'm just lucky to get the information I'm asking for. It just feels that such big things should have more clearer ways of you to find out information about them. Copper Lane. I'll complete the bridge, but and leave things there. It's a multi-map city, so it probably will take a lot of time to go through it. And I noticed these again. A lot of named people. Yeah. You see a lavishly decorated room, walls hung with tapestries, ornate oil lamps creating a warm, relaxing atmosphere. There are several overstuffed couches covered with silk pillows and an elegant table in the middle of the floor. This woman is seated at the table, sitting across from another woman. They are both well dressed, their style befitting the room they're in. The other woman's hair is blonde, in stark contrast to this woman's black, and is swept up on her head in a dramatic style. The women speak in an easy, free tone, obviously familiar with one another. Though they each seem to be comfortable in the other's company, a strange nervousness surrounds the blonde woman's actions. She occasionally betrays herself with a little giggle or stammer, hitching over an easy word as she speaks. Her demeanor swings from friendly to shy and back again with no warning. This woman leans back a little in her chair, stretching lightly. As she finishes her stretch, she gently lays her hand next to the other woman's hand, letting their fingers softly intertwine. The second woman stops speaking mid-sentence, inhales sharply and turns red. She does not, however, move her hand. This woman smiles and moves her hand further over the other, holding it. She then stands, moving around the table toward the blonde woman, whose face shows conflicting emotion of terror and lust. She giggles and pulls her hand out from under the other and brings it to her mouth, the red of her face deepening. This woman stops, looking down at her, eyes sparkling. She reaches out and pulls something from the blonde's hair, letting it fall around her shoulders. Then she leans over, brushing her lips lightly over the blonde woman's cheek, pressing her mouth against her ear. As she whispers, her hand moves lithely down the other woman's body to her waist. The blonde shudders and leans into the hand, eyes closing, cheek pressing against the lips, still whispering at her ear. This woman's hands deftly remove the small bag from the other woman's belt, and secrets it under her own cloak at the small of her back. Then she gently kisses the other woman's cheek and stands again, the smile never leaving her mouth. Craddock Bridgeman. You see a ship being tossed about in a storm-ravaged sea. The swells rise and fall, carrying the ship with them as if it were a toy. This man stands on deck at the helm of the ship, while water whips around him. The crew moves about frantically, trying to keep the chaos under control. He barks orders at them, pointing where to go and giving each one a task. The men, while still visibly distressed, seem to calm down when they are given their orders. He instructs the helmsman to resume his duties at the wheel and rushes to the aid of a crewman who is struggling with a rope attached to one of the sails. His ship crests a wave, going almost vertical in one direction and then immediately again in the other direction. Several of the crew are thrown from their feet, sliding across the deck as the ship is rocked. After the swell passes and the ship returns to a relatively normal orientation, the man quickly scans the deck, counting silently. No one has been lost this time, thankfully. He looks in the direction they're headed, seeing no reprieve from the storm inside. His jaw squared and his upper lip stiffened. He returns to the helm and takes the wheel again. So, just time wasters. Another one. You see a flurry of matted white hair and an incandescent freeze-fire staff before you see the man. Cold and wild. He chews a wizened apple slowly, discharging spell after spell into the jumble of villagers screeching their way toward him. Cold flame vents from his nose and apple seeds shoot out of the side of his mouth as he saunters forward, ignoring arrows and curses alike. A deliberate twist of his staff and a bullet of force glides through the torso of one assailant and another. A roar blisters his throat as he launches himself into their midst, tearing into their essence with his staff. A bleeding hand reaches toward him and quickly falls, ignored. Silence takes hold as the tattered man gathers his prize, a basket of fresh pears. He hums as he eats. Justiciar. I'm not sure how that's supposed to be pronounced. I know what justicars are, but that's not quite the same. Nah, whatever. Welcome to Defiance Bay, but watch yourself in our city, understand?
Hail and well met.
What can I do for you? What can you tell me about Defiance Bay? No, you seem on edge. What's the problem? Thousands of them, truth be told. We got refugees coming in from all parts under some misguided notion that things are actually better here, that the legacy somehow passed over us, so they show up with no prospects and little money and just end up making a worse mess of things. He looks you up and down. No offense. Hey, tell me about Defiance Bay. Sorry, but I don't have time right now. But it sounds like that dozen's crackpot Rowan is stirring up trouble again. He jerks his head at the gate. He'd be all too happy to give you a rundown of the city. Liberally flavored with dozens propaganda, of course. Okay, what about Temple of Voedica? He scratches his beard. Not sure why you'd want to go there. He shrugs. It's in first fires if you really want to see it. Right, goodbye. And good luck to you. Never far from the Queen. So, first fires is the center. Heritage Hill, Hondra's Gift, Brackenbury. Copper Lane seems like whatever. Doesn't matter what it seems like, we can go and take a look. 15 minutes. This town has to have another NPC that joins. Has to.
Defiance Bay, the city at the heart of the Deerwoods Revolution, now seems on the brink of another. Refugees line the streets, homeless and hungry, displaced by White One's legacy, hoping for relief within the city walls, and finding none. Dissidents congregate to protest and to heckle, calling for an end to animancy and the ouster of their duke. The city's militiamen cast fearful looks as they patrol the streets, their hands trembling at the hilts of their weapons. The capital of a country that had not long ago incinerated a god now appears to be a spark away from sharing the deity's fate.
This sort of feels like entering Baldur's Gate the first time. It's sort of been a warm-up since this point, and now the real thing's about to begin.